sometimes it just, you know,
Himself.
you're just playing stuff that comes out of you. And in fact, I should mention, I really like to make stuff up when I'm improvising, create it on the spot, you know. So I try. Every solo is different, every situation is different, so whatever. But as much as I can, I like to not play what I practice necessarily, or if I play it, I mess with it. You know, so I practice it a certain way to prepare, but then I don't play it the same way when it comes time to play it. You know what I mean? Just try to, interact and make something of it. Turn it into more than just a nice lick. Turn it into an interactive moment that might go somewhere. That's why there's certain things I do just for that purpose as an improviser. I just play something to see what they'll do, you know, and see if it can turn into a dialogue or turn into some kind of a back and forth. Because, you know, I think that's an important part of what jazz is about. If you listen to it's really, really important to listen intently and deeply. Like, really pay attention to what's going on. Try to understand why you're listening. I mean, enjoy it, of course, but also try to get inside of, you know, whatever. Just listen deeply, listen intensely and thoroughly, and try to. So hopefully, and hopefully, the more we point certain things out, or the more we play together, we're more able to hear each other better. Right? And that skill is critical when you're playing with people, to be able to listen. This is where listening comes in, like listening, the study of music, because you can listen and get lots of different approaches. Like you can check out Tommy Flanagan and Red Garland and McCoy Tyner, Chick Corea, and Herbie Hancock for piano players, for example, and they all comp different for different kinds of players. Wynton Kelly, and Bill Evans, they all comp differently. And so, I think it's really, 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 really important to hear, or Keith Jarrett, you know, check him out with Dewey Redman. Like if you scope out the way different players play, then your understanding of what you can do will be bigger. Man, I can't emphasize enough how important that is. You know, it's really super critical to study master players in such a way that helps you to understand the options when you listen, to go the next level with listening, in terms of really trying to understand what your options are in terms of the tradition. And then what you do is what you do, you know, but if you understand with enough breadth and enough depth, you know, deep enough what your options are, that makes it a lot more fun in a lot of ways, you know, like the next level of it, because you really, you know, you have some choices. You have more choices, and jazz music, I think choices are a lot of what makes it interesting. You know, when you're improvising, and again, when you're improvising, it's you creating it. So I'm not asking you to imitate anybody per se, although you learn through imitations. I think it's critical. That part of it is critical. But I think you listen to understand as deeply as you can what your options are, and then how to create your own version of something really cool. But the tradition gives you all these examples. That's why the listening is so important, because then you say, oh, I can do this, or oh, I can do that, or I can do this. And then when you're in it, you just try different things and go with the flow and create it. And if you do that, if you commit, once you're skilled, you know, obviously depending on what your learning level is and where you are, you go with that, right? But as your skills build up, that's when the next levels of exploration can really happen. That's when the music can get. And it doesn't mean, by skill, I don't mean technique necessarily. I don't mean it has to be like, you know, it's not about technique, it's more about concept. It's about understanding different kinds of ideas, different kinds of approaches. And as rhythm section people, one of the most important things that we can do is learn how to connect with our soloists, whatever they're doing. And so, as a soloist, one of the first things I do as an improviser is just say, hey, rhythm section, I'm with you. We're together on this. You know what I mean? We're a team. We're not. It's just not about me and my ego and my solo. The ego is in there because that's a part of the personal expression, but it's not about me and what I do. It's about us working together. And so I play a certain way, especially at the beginning, to make sure that everybody knows, okay, let's make sure we're on the same page here.
I think that's the most important thing.
It's super important. You got to be on the same page. And I think in any rhythm section, and and what's interesting about it though is that because we're making it up, because we're improvising, then we don't quite know what's going to happen. And so in that course of exploration, little things go wrong sometimes, you know, or go wrong being defined as a form, like during the trading, something happened during the trading where the form got a little bit funny. I don't know if anyone noticed that.
Yeah.
But it got a little funny there for a minute. And that's what happens sometimes. You know, it could happen for any number of reasons. And what's cool about it is that, well, if you're learning and you have to, and it's a mistake because you just don't know the form very well, and your skill of playing forms needs attention. That's fine because that's something that happens, you know, in the learning process. If it's a thing where you're trying something, then and you come out like that happens to me sometimes. I'll have an idea that's rhythmically like we did it. It happened when we were doing this towards the end of the training. We were doing this 7/8 subdivision thing, and it kind of got a little bit shaky. But it wasn't, you know, it was never really bad. It was just like, okay. And I would rather have that than everything be correct. You know, let's try some stuff and things come. Oh, oops. Okay, then we fix it because that's what happened. Whenever it turned around, it fixed itself pretty quick, and that's, you know, that's the beauty of jazz players is that we can adjust and adapt quickly as long as we're listening. I think the connection with each other, you have to be able to do that, whatever it takes. You know, you have to get to that. And if you listen to the records, people on the records, man, that's what you're going for. You get the sound of that together, and say, okay, I got it. I'm gonna go for that. And then, other than, you know, in terms of a basic skill of locking in, and other than that, man, it really is. I think it's so important, besides being together though, to try different things, to explore, and that will throw you off. And I think that's fine, because I think as long as you get back, you know, and that's what I want to try with us now. I want to try some things and just see what we can get into, because I think we can explore, just by example, we can explore some different experiments.